Good evening, YouTube. What's going on? I know I've been kind of on hiatus. Just been working a lot, so I haven't really been making a lot of videos. I told you guys in the past, if you've been watching me for any length of time, I'm not going to put out content, just put out content. You know, if I don't have anything to talk about or I don't have anything to show you guys, yeah, more than likely I'm not going to make a video. Luckily, I haven't really lost any subscribers based on that, so let's hope that trend continues. Tonight, I've been trying to make this video for like 4 days. This was probably the biggest week so far of the year for me as far as new comic book release day. If you watched the video because of Funko Pops, don't worry, I have a small unboxing also. We'll get that out of the way. That way, if you're not into comic books and you want to skip and go and watch something else, that's fine. But I figured try to hit both audiences. But the sole purpose of this, or the main purpose of this video is, God, this was a huge week for comic books. Definitely, I spent more this week in new comic book releases than I have in any previous week this year. As there was just so many new books launching. Stuff on my pull list just had multiple titles. I mean, it's a crazy week for comics. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on it. You know, see what I picked up, and we'll talk about some of the stories a little bit too, if I have time. I don't want to make this video like 3 hours long, you know, but I do want to touch base on some of these stories, because if you're not reading some of these comic books, oh man, you guys are missing out. There's some epic comics going on right now. But let's get into this Entertainment Earth unboxing real quick. This has been sitting on my shelf for like 2 weeks now, and I've just been waiting for something else to happen for me to make a video so I could kind of unbox it. I've been itching to see what's inside. I think I know what it is. I pre-order so much stuff that it just takes forever to get. Like, I have at least probably 3 shipments coming from Shumi. I may get before Christmas. It's Shumi, you know. There's been a lot of My Hero Academia exclusives releasing. And I think I pre-ordered all of them. I hope. I haven't pre-ordered the full set yet for the newest series that's getting ready to launch, but I think I still got a little bit of time on that, hopefully. As long as there's no more weeks like this for comic books, maybe I can do it within the next month, unless they just launch, because I don't know when the release date is. But enough talking. Let's start opening up some boxes. Like I said, I think I ordered this one a couple months ago. I want to say that it's going to be Full Cow Deku, but I honestly don't know. I'd be mad if they sent me something I didn't want. No, it's Full Cow Deku. Glows in the dark. Sometimes I feel like Funko kind of cheats us a little bit. Some of the same tooling that they used for this Full Cow Deku, I want to say that it was the same tooling that they used on one of the Dragon Ball Z Pops. It was one of the GameStop exclusive ones that was really hyped and everybody was trying to get, and then they did a restock and I ended up with like 6 of them. But I want to say that, I mean, besides his head and, you know, I mean, it's cool, especially if you watch the series. I mean, the series is amazing. Anybody who is not or has not watched My Hero Academia, they're getting ready to launch the next season in October, I believe. Yeah, I'm not positive, but I think it's October. Man, please catch up on it before then. If you're not reading the mangas, I mean, it's either or, because the storyline is literally almost identical. I think I read the first maybe 5 books, and the series was on point and pretty much dead on with the actual anime series, like the video series. So if you're not watching that, or you haven't in the past, I beg you, please watch My Hero Academia. Especially if you're into any kind of like good versus evil, morals versus like, I don't know, that I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I'm not going to get into it this video. I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, we can talk about it. I'll do a video on that because I love My Hero. The bad thing about it is I've probably watched the series that's out right now 3 times all the way through. Still can't pronounce half their names properly, or can't remember their names. I suck. Enough of that. Into the comic books. This week, I literally have like 3 piles that are like this thick. It's horrible. I guess we'll start. I kind of tried to set them out in alphabetical order. Whether that's gonna be dead on, I don't know. I'm gonna do Marvel first, then we'll go to DC, and then we'll go to the independents. I did pick up Absolute Carnage #2. I believe this was cover A. I picked up a lot of different variants for this one. Sorry, I'm trying to drop them into a short box as I go. That way I can kind of keep them halfway organized, because otherwise I'm going to have to find a place to stack them, and there's just too many comics right now. They get the action figure variant. I know a lot of people don't like those action figure variants. I don't mind them, especially if I'm trying to collect most of the covers, if not all of them. I'm not sure what this cover was called. It's okay. It's kind of like a werewolf Venom or carnageized werewolf. The art on it's pretty cool. The story on this one, I get confused because I'm actually reading everything that Carnage is putting, or Absolute Carnage is putting out. So right now they have Absolute Carnage Miles Morales, Absolute Carnage Lethal Protectors, Absolute Carnage, what was the ones from last week? Scream. There's like 6 different series, and they all kind of intertwine and tie in. Plus you got Venom on the backside, which I've been reading Venom from the get-go. I mean, it's on issue 17 now, and I've been staying up to date on it. I really like how it's how it's unfolding. Issue 17, like the first 3 pages, it's like, where are we going with this? You know, you'll have to read it if you're not reading it. This was one of the 1 in 25 variants. I think this is the Codex. Yeah, it's Codex variant. I was lucky enough to pick this one up. I really like that. Spidey with the black suit. And then it has the Spider-Man symbol or the Venom symbol in the background. So that's pretty awesome. And then this one was the Cult of Carnage variant. It's also a 1 in 25. I really try to collect these short print variants. A lot of times they have some really nice art covers. Not always. I mean, every once in a blue moon you'll get one that's kind of like, that's kind of a weird looking cover. Not a fan of it, but This was Absolute Carnage Miles Morales. The crazy thing is I'm actually reading this, regular Miles Morales, and Champions, which he's in, and he just came back to, because he was on a little bit of a hiatus, but he also was missing in his own universe, in his own comic book. So I picked up a couple different variants. This is probably my favorite variant out of all the Miles Morales Absolute Carnage ones. Got Black Cat on the front petting a kitty. This was a 1 in 25 variant, so it was another short print variant. The art on that was just awesome. I'm trying to collect pretty much anything that has Black Cat involved with it. I have a feeling that something good is going to happen in the Marvel Universe with her. Whether she's going to get her own series, own movie, I don't know. But I can see it happening. Most of the stuff that I actually read, this is the Absolute Carnage Lethal Protectors. This one wasn't, to me, it wasn't as good as some of the other Absolute Carnage books, but it did kind of tie in, I think. So I'll keep reading it just for the simple fact that Absolute Carnage is the direction that all the stuff that I'm collecting right now kind of is leaning towards. It's a pretty big Marvel thing right now. There's another one of the covers. This is probably the coolest cover out of all of them right here. This was the 1 in 25. I think this was a Codex also. Yeah, Codex variant. Thought that was kind of weird looking. Yeah, I don't know. Then I did pick up a couple of the Amazing Spider-Man 28s. Been trying to keep up with this series. It's hard to keep up with some of the variants though. Like this week, I go to a couple local comic book stores, and I was able to get this one and Bring On the Bad Guys version. Yeah, let's see if I can get a good angle. There you go. The Bring On the Bad Guys variant. But I wasn't able to get, they have like an 80th anniversary. You'll see it when we get to the Venom books, where it has like the picture in the middle, and then it has like a collage of all the different other characters surrounding them, kind of making a picture frame border. I wasn't able to find that one, but I also had car troubles yesterday, so I wasn't able to go to some of the other comic book stores. And then I did pick up the Amazing Spider-Man Venom 3D. Honestly, I just picked this one up for nostalgia reasons, because it kind of reminds you of 300. Picked up Black Panther. I haven't been reading this. I actually just picked this up because it has a really cool spread on the last page, and I'm wondering where they're going to take the story. So I may end up having to go back and read that one, unfortunately. And I picked up, I believe this is cover B, Bring On the Bad Guys. Some of these Bring On the Bad Guys covers were really kind of cool. So I don't know if that's supposed to be Killmonger or not. Like I said, I haven't really been reading this series. I think I've read issues 1, 2, and 3, but I didn't keep up with it. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, number 11. I actually picked up the Bring On the Bad Guys cover also. I really like this this writing. I've been keeping up with this story, and this is the second time in this series that, at least that I know, that he's done these like kind of intertwined one-shots. Like that issue right there was pretty much from an MJ perspective, where it was her, how she interacts, and it kind of led where she went out and was fighting a troll. So it's kind of like, and Spider-Man, the Peter Parker Spider-Man was sleeping. Like literally, he slept pretty much the whole issue. I mean, he interacted with her when he first got home from fighting the troll, and then he went to bed and she went out and handled business for him and told him that, don't worry, the city will still be here when you wake. You know what I mean? It's pretty cool. That same writer, and I want to say it was issue 2, maybe 4, I can't remember. I want to say it was issue 2. Shoot, I don't know. One of them, he introduced Spider Bit, I think it was, or Spider Bite, something like that. And really, it was just a one-shot talking about this this cancer kid. That, I mean, it was a really heartfelt issue. So I kind of like the way that he kind of intertwines that. I picked up a second print of Guardians of the Galaxy. This is number 7, where they're starting the possibly kill off Rocket. I don't know. Haven't really been reading that one either. I pick up the ones that I think the covers look cool on. There's just so many that I'm actually really reading that you can't read all of this stuff. If you did, like, I guess I probably could, but I couldn't afford to collect all these different series. So some of them I pick up 1 or 2 if they got something really cool or something big is happening. Like last week I picked up Batman 77 because they killed off Alfred. I don't even collect Batman. I'm not a big DC fan, but it is what it is. House of X, number 3, I think. Yeah, number 3. I don't know if I like House of X as much as I like Powers of 10. And I hate to say that because they're intertwined and you pretty much have to read one to understand the next. But I feel like even though Hickman's doing both at this simultaneously, I feel like sometimes the story in Powers of 10 grips me or keeps me interacted a little bit better than the House of X stories. And it could just be me, because I've heard nobody else complain about that. I don't know. Maybe it's just what's going on in the series, because they do a lot of jumping back and forth. And I don't know, to me, when I look forward to the Powers of X, I read House of Powers of 10. I read House of X just to kind of keep the lineage, so I know what's going to happen or what's going on when I get ready to read the next Powers of 10. This is a pretty cool flower cover. I think that's what they actually called it too. I haven't even been talking about what these covers are called. And some of them I don't know. Like, they have so many different covers for all this stuff. I've been lucky, though, on most of the previous weeks so far, because they come out every week. Every week there's either, they alternate usually. I think we actually got 2 Powers of 10 back to back. And I think I actually picked up 2 of these ones. But I've actually been lucky to pick up most of the covers. This was the connecting cover, I believe. That was pretty cool. And then you got your Scotty Young variant. I know some people don't really care for Scotty Young's like childlike variants, but I kind of enjoy them. I think it kind of is just a different take on the whole Marvel universe and seeing stuff in a different light, because you got so many people that can put out just amazing covers. Not necessarily just in Marvel. I mean, like Art Germ, he puts out some covers that just are mind-boggling. That's like, is it a photo or did you draw that? Like, how exactly did you come up with that? This was the 1 in 10 variant. I think this was I can't remember who the artist was on this one. It started with the H. Oh well. But you got so many artists that just put out some amazing art and that are just so detailed and refined. And then you got somebody like Scotty Young that puts out something that's fun, but still kind of has that childlike, because most of the covers that he does kind of are like baby versions or something of that nature. I kind of like that. It's like, it's a little bit refreshing to me. And I picked up the Immortal Hulk number 2 director's cut. I actually picked up number 1 also. I like these director's cuts because I didn't get on Immortal Hulk in the beginning, so I haven't really been keeping up or reading it, just because everybody's reading it and they're talking about how amazing it is, and I'll probably end up having to pick it up in trade, just for the simple fact that those first, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 issues, they are super expensive to try to get now. Even some of the 2nd and 3rd prints were kind of pricey, so I'll just try to pick it up in trade more than likely. Now these ones, I know some of the covers. I don't know 90% of who did what or what the name of it's going to be. But it was a big book this week, kind of pricey book. I've read most of it. It bounces around because they're only 1-page stories. It was the Marvel 1000. Kind of felt like this was just a ploy to get money. But they did have some pretty cool covers. I grabbed this one, which I want to say was like cover A. It was one of the, it might not have been cover A. Hell, I don't know. There's literally like 14 to 30 covers for it. It's almost as bad as what they're about to do to Spawn. I picked up this one. Anything that has Spider-Man in it, I'm trying to jump on, just because that's my go-to, man. I read more Spider-Man or stuff that's in Spider-Man's universe than I do anything else. I do like some of the X-Men stuff. I read quite a bit of independent stuff. I know for a fact this was the 80s variant, because this was the one that had She-Hulk on it. Thought it was pretty cool, because it got everybody in the background looking at her like, oh my god. And then even Spider-Man got the little hearts coming up from his head. I thought it was pretty cool. And then look at her face, if I can get in on it. The art on that is just crazy. Like, she's smirking and stuff. I don't know. I'm a sucker when it comes to like the actual, like, the art. This one, I was a sucker for too. It's the 90s cover. Anybody who read comics in the 90s knows this literally is a 90s cover. Like, they oversaturated everything. Everything was very vibrant, very colorful, and they tried to cram as much stuff onto a cover as they possibly could. Like, and then it has Thanos and everything. I mean, it's really cool cover. I thought that one was awesome. And there's, I mean, they pretty much got everybody on there. Let's see, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Silver Surfer. Hell, even Cyclops is down there in the corner. So I thought that was a pretty cool one. This was the lead cover. Venom and Spider-Man. But I really liked the details they did on Venom. And the way that he kind of, it looks almost airbrushed the way that he did Spider-Man. Thought it was really kind of neat. And it looks like glass is kind of breaking in the black background, because it's the reflection that's the little pieces that are in the back. So I thought that one was pretty cool. Out of all of them though, this was probably the gem of the bunch for me. This was the Bertel 1 in 50 variant, and it was the Storm cover. I thought that was a really nice cover. I love Storm. She's probably one of my favorite X-Men, even though her powers probably aren't as cool as like Wolverine's or Cyclops's. Nope, that concludes all the Marvel stuff. No, it doesn't. I take that back. Golly. Every time I think that I'm done, then I'm not really done, and then more stuff just kind of compiles. Yeah. Well, at least we got a short stack left of Marvel. Yeah, let's see if I can get it in an angle. There we go. Spider-Man life story. This is the conclusion. Peter Parker's actually really old in this episode, or this issue. I've actually enjoyed this series. Each one of them did a whole decade. 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. It was just a 6-part series. Really good series. Some of the stuff kind of, you wonder how it ties in with the rest. But I actually I enjoyed it. If it's something that you haven't read yet, pick it up in trade, because I'm sure that they'll have a trade out pretty soon. This is the 1 in 25 variant. Everything's kind of a play on Venom and Carnage right now. So, but I thought that was a pretty cool variant. Thanos 5. I think this only got one more issue. I really need to get back to reading this. I read the first 2, and I've bought all the other ones, so I just haven't got around to actually reading them. There's just so many different series that are ongoing. I picked up the variant cover for that one also. This was the Bring On the Bad Guys, but it's just Thanos because he is the bad guy. But I thought it was a really cool cover. So there's that one. Like I said, I think that series is going to 6. So we got one more and that one will be done. Venom number 17. This was an amazing issue. It does tie into the Absolute Carnage series. This is one of them that I recommend that if you're reading Absolute Carnage, this is probably one that you want to pick up. And even if you read it online, you really kind of need to read this one just to know some of the storyline that they're not telling in Absolute Carnage right now. I know some of the tie-ins you technically don't need to read, because it just gives you some like one shot or off-brand storyline that kind of ties in, but it's really not necessary for the story. The Venom one really does kind of tie in. It gives you some insight. Bring on the Bad Guys cover. Thought that was really cool. Venom fighting Carnage. The art on this one was amazing. The detailing was just awesome. I don't think the camera picked it up and did it any justice though. And then they did the picture frame. This was the one I was talking about when I was doing the Amazing Spider-Man. They have a version of Amazing Spider-Man 28 that has Spider-Man in the middle and then has the collage of different characters around him making the frame. I didn't get it this week. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. Worst case scenario, I might be able to pick it up on Mercari or eBay or something. This is my DC. I don't collect DC really. There's a few books that I will collect. If I know that there's going to be something like major happening in a book, usually I'll pick up that book. Or if somebody just says that, you know, this is going to be a key for whatever reason, I might pick it up. But to actually read it, I don't read any of them. I'm eventually going to get around to reading Deceased, just because I think that's kind of a cool little take on the DC universe. I have been buying all those. I just haven't had time to sit down and actually read them. But I did pick up Batgirl, what is this, 38? Yeah, Batgirl 38. Just awesome cover. It was one of the cardstock covers, so it was a little bit more pricey, but I mean, man, they're gorgeous. Honestly, the Batgirl run has had some amazing covers, at least this Batgirl run. I think I've got like the last 4 or 5 of them, the B covers. I don't really collect the A covers. The only series I collect the A and B covers for in DC is Catwoman. But Catwoman didn't come out this week. Then you got Batman, Superman. This is number 1. They actually had a couple different ones. This is, I think, the C cover. I think. Doesn't really say. But they had an A and a B that combined. Didn't make sense. You would think they would have did like issue 1 and 2 that way. Why would you want to make people buy 2 of the same in order to show the picture? Or at least they could have had a wraparound cover maybe. But they didn't. They decided not to do it that way. And then got Red Hood Outlaw 37. This was, I believe, the B variant. Only reason I picked this up is because it's supposed to be some kind of key or something hot about it. I don't know. And I did pick up the A cover. Like I said, not gonna read it. I'm not into it. Don't really care too much about it. Now, on to the independent. A good majority of these ones I actually have either read or I'm gonna read. And some of them I may have already read. Cantos 2, I believe this is second print. I'm loving this series. Issue 3, I think, came out last week or maybe the week before. The series is great. It's kind of, it reminds you of a, I'm trying to think of what it's similar to. I mean, the premise of it is he's technically, he is a slave. And the master race or whatever it is, the people that have enslaved him, like they replace their hearts with clocks, and when your clock runs out, you die. Well, he fell in love with this little girl, and you know they stopped her clock, so he's trying to find her real heart. It's kind of like some knights in shining armor thing. It's really good, especially if you're into that. I mean, it's a really fun book. The art in there is really nice. I like the series, I really do. And I think that one's only going to 5 or 6, so it's about to end too, because we're already on 3. But I've picked up all the second prints and first prints for that one. Minus I didn't get any of the short prints, unfortunately. They were really kind of pricey when it first came out. Dr. Mirage, this was new this week. I don't know which ones are covers A, B, C. Oh, this was actually cover C. This one was cover C. I think this was A. Nope, this is B. That one's pretty cool. I haven't read this one yet, but I do plan on reading it. I don't know the premise of the story, but I like the cover, and it was something new. This was cover A. I don't know. When it comes to these startups for these independents, I always try to give them a try, at least for the first issue. And then if they don't pick up, or I don't like the way that they read, then I just won't pick up any more issues on it. Picked up a G.I. Joe this week just because it was the start of the Snake Hunt. This is Snake Hunt 1, but it's actually issue 266. This is the 1 in 10 variant. It's really neat. I don't read G.I. Joe, but if they have some kind of cool thing going on inside the series, then I'll pick them up from time to time. Same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm also picking up, what is it? Power Rangers. They have foil covers right now, that each issue has a foil cover with the actual, the Power Ranger on the front. I've been picking those up. I mean, I don't read Power Rangers, but still, I think the covers are really cool. This was Killers #2. Really cool story. I love this story right now. I don't know if this is going to be a mini series or if this is a full-blown series, but I am absolutely in love with this story. The premise of it is they are ninjas. They are ninja assassins, to be specific. And this one, the only thing that's a little bit confusing is they all go by like Ninja G, Ninja J, Ninja H. Some of them have other names in issue 2 that they didn't actually acknowledge in issue 1. But I really like the story, and it's kind of unfolding where the first one I felt like they kind of gave you the baseline of what the story was, and then in issue 2 they're starting to ramp up and actually tell you something about like what direction they're taking it. It seems, what I've gathered from issue 2, because I did already go ahead and read this. This is cover B, or maybe this was cover A. No, this is cover B. What I gathered, and I may have to go back and read it again, is the sensei needs them to find this, whatever it was. I can't remember the exact wording on it. And he doesn't flat out tell them each that, hey, I told all you guys I want you to find this, but he did. So you got them bumping into each other, and they're all in the hunt to help the sensei, because from what I gather, he was the sensei for all of them at one time or another. So it's a pretty cool premise. I mean, like I said, it's ninja assassins. I mean, it's fun. The art in the book is great too. I picked up the Mall. This has been really hyped. Excuse me, golly. This has been really hyped. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. The premise is all these different nations or groups are all set up in a mall. So they're all fighting for territory and whatnot. So I don't know. Like I said, I'll give it a read through and see if I like it. This is one of them that if it catches my attention during the first issue or two, then I'll go ahead and keep reading it. Man Black issue 2. I was only able to get one cover, unfortunately. Maybe I'll find the other one in the coming days or weeks. I actually really like this story so far. Issue 2 was a little bit confusing to me. I may have to go back and reread it. There was a lot of fire in this book. It really engulfs you and kind of keeps you interactive or like pulled into the story, because it is a horror comic. I mean, this one, and I didn't make a video about it, but Watcher came out last week. Both comics, they really pull you in as if it's a movie that you're, I mean, every turn of the page, you're like, oh shit, what's going to happen next? So I'm really looking forward to this series every month that it comes out, or every issue that they release. I don't know if it's a mini series or if it's a full-on series either, but I really do enjoy that one. Like I said, if you're not reading that one, you should check that one out. I've seen them pretty much everywhere. I don't think that they're really hard to find. The other one that I mentioned was The Watcher. I don't know how popular that one was either, but it did come out last week, and I really liked the story on that one. I mean, at the very end, I won't tell you, but needless to say, if you're into horror comics at all, or if you're into horror movies, both comics, they're really good. Mountainhead, couldn't tell you anything about this comic. It was recommended to me, and it was issue number 1. It's IDW, so, and they had them on sale, so I went ahead and grabbed 2. I think I don't remember. I want to say it was the live show. On the live show, I think he was letting them go for like $2 a piece, so I went ahead and grabbed 2 of them. So it's pretty much buy one get one for free. Sarah and the Royal Stars. Issue number 1 was really good. I haven't read issue 2 yet. It kind of gives you that Persian essence. So I kind of look forward to this one. I know this one I think is only going to 4 in the series, so it's a really cool one. Got Ninja Turtles 96 second print, and I think the only thing that was different on the first print and second print is I think the symbol up here was blue on the first print. Maybe the letters were blue also. I didn't get the first print. It sold out really quick, and I didn't realize that it was going to be like a major key or anything. But now I know. Then 97. I think this was, it's cover A. Not my favorite of the 2 covers, but I was lucky enough to get cover B, Jenica on the cover. Ooh, I know that's probably gonna be super hyped. And I actually got one that's in pretty good shape. Don't look like any of my corners are really dinged up too bad. But either way, I mean, the art on the front is really cool. That's another series that I don't read, but if there's something cool that's happening inside the book, I'll try to pick up one of the covers if I can't get both of them. Tommy Gun Wizards. I really like this story. I want to see where they're going to take it, and honestly, I'll probably end up putting this on my pull list within the next day or 2. Maybe worst case scenario next week. Al Capone is selling some kind of drug that can give you the powers of a wizard, or, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's the sorcery meets gangsters. I mean, I don't know. It's a really neat book. Dark Horse Comics. I'm waiting to see what this guy's role is really going to be, because he plays a major role in issue 1. It's kind of like he's not Al Capone, but I don't know like what he's going to turn out to be like, because he seems very powerful in issue 1. He's in the bar where they're selling all this stuff, and I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. I picked up issue or variant B, I guess it would be. Or maybe it's just a variant cover. I don't know if Dark Horse actually does A and B covers, but I did pick up the other cover. And then I picked up Traveler #1. I don't know what this comic's about either, but it was a first issue. The cover art was really kind of appealing to me, so I figured, I'll give it a try. I mean, worst case scenario, it's 1 in 4, so if the series is good enough, I might put it on my pull list. Just, I mean, 4 issues, that ain't that bad, especially I think they're like $3.99 a piece, something like that, maybe $2.99. It's a pretty thick book too. So I'm sorry I've rambled for as long as I possibly could. I didn't mean to keep you longer than I had to, but that was what I picked up this week. If you're reading anything and you want to recommend anything that's not DC, drop it in the comments down below. If there's anything that I'm reading that you want to know a little bit more details on without a spoiler, drop it in the comments. I'll tell you about the book. We can rap about it, because I think everybody should be reading comic books right now. Like, this is the time where, man, there's just so many good stories going on right now, and especially in the Marvel universe. With Absolute Carnage launching, and all the different tie-ins and different one-shots. Man, it's been really fun here lately reading comics. This week wasn't as fun because yeah, that's a lot of books. Like next week's gonna be pretty bad too, just because Spawn 300 comes out, and man, it's gonna hit the pockets real hard. But this one, there was so many books this week. Even if I wouldn't have got all the variant covers that I did, because I do buy a lot of variant covers, I still, man, there's quite a few different titles in there that kind of, and I'd say a good majority of these, outside of a couple of the #1 independent comics, most of them are on my pull list, just because the story is that good that I want to read them every single time they come out. If you don't have a pull list at your local comic shop, definitely set one up. And I've named quite a few comics today that, oh man, even if you jump in now, you should be able to pick up on the story. And some of the comics I named tonight, they're not even that hard to find. I mean, there's some in there that, yeah, they might have sold out pretty quick, but a good majority of that stuff, man, you could probably find them. If not, maybe trade paperbacks. But thanks for watching. I know I've kept you longer than I probably should have. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up. Share and like. I'll see you guys soon.